All right, good morning, GPAR. Matt Braden here from GPAR World Headquarters on South Broad Street. Welcome to our final coffee talk of the year. But before we get to coffee talk, let's take care of a few housekeeping things. And first, did you complete your code of ethics? If so, raise your hand. Thank you. We appreciate that very much. The keys, we saw them in our class back at the start of December. If you haven't yet completed your code of ethics, what are you waiting for? Tick, tick, tick. The deadline is rushing towards you right now. Please do it now. Get it squared away so you can get off our naughty list, because there's about 500 or so members who have yet to complete it. Let's get it squared away and taken care of now rather than later. Again, I'm just going to ask everybody if they can keep themselves on mute. That would be dynamite for our program here today. As you saw in the email communication, we're going to draw our sweepstakes winners for our RPAC sweepstakes. I'm not sure if that's a tick, tick, tick of the code of ethics going or a turn signal. I'm not quite sure. Or maybe it's a bomb. I don't know, but I'm scared by that. Anyway, enough. RPAC. Phenomenal run down to the finish.
Where people have to testify under oath as to the reality of the situation.
Again, I'm going to ask, please keep yourselves on mute. That would be spectacular.
Well, the whole job security, I like that aspect of the city, you know.
Protection of the union.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to get to the RPAC. We had a phenomenal drive to the finish. Congratulations to the RPAC committee. They finished out the year with a sweepstakes drive and a phone-a-thon. During the course of that sweepstakes, we had over 112 people get in with some investments in RPAC totaling over $38,000. And our grand total for this entire year was over $66,000. So tremendous effort by all of our GPAR members who got involved, and that was over 800 members investing in RPAC. And RPAC really helps us to have a seat at the table, to support those who support us legislatively and in the regulatory process. If you don't have a seat at the table, then you're on the table. So RPAC keeps us having a seat and not being on the table. So with that, we have those 112 names here. Literally, we're going to draw out of this wonderful USA Cycling cap. Got 8 names we're going to pull out. And here we go. Carrie Gavin. Kanisa Scarolini. Sharon Grayson. Jonathan Mendes. So let's see, where are we at? That's 4 more to go. Ann Coons, Karen Jocelyn, Jacqueline Talpa, and last but not least, former past president, Louise Butter D'Alessandro. So there we go. There's our 8 folks. Congratulations to all of you. We'll get things worked out with paying those dues. So you'll be hearing from Gina from our team or myself or both of us in some way, shape, or form in the next couple of days. So we'll get that squared away. And if you've already paid your dues, we'll figure out that too with you. So congratulations to all of our folks who won from our sweepstakes drawing. And thank you very much to the RPAC committee. Tremendous effort. And we are so appreciative of what those volunteers did for us. And finally, all those investors. We could not do it without the generosity from all of you. So with that, where is our president, Stephanie Biello? Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Matt. How are you?
Great.
Good. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have a great coffee talk this morning. I'm going to hand off the hosting to Councilman Domb. So he's going to go ask some great questions to this great panel of members, leaders in our communities, influencers. They're going to share with us some little tidbits of success stories and maybe some challenges that they've overcome these past couple of years. So with that, Councilman Domb, are you around? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Stephanie. And Stephanie, thank you on behalf of all of us for your 2 years of service as our president under the most difficult times of any president in GPAR's history during COVID. You did an amazing job, and we're all very proud of you, and thank you so much. Really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Matt, thank you for all you do for all of us. You help all of us, including Stephanie, and guide us through these tough times. This was not easy getting through COVID. And I think GPAR, under your direction and the board and Stephanie's presidency, did a great job. So thanks again. So we have 8 great panelists today, some of the best in our profession, very professional, very productive. And I can't think of a better panel to have today, 8 days from Christmas, to share ideas. So I'm going to run through the names. I'm going to ask each of them to give a 30 to 60 second overview. I'll just give you the quick names. Greg Damis from Berkshire Hathaway, former GPAR president. Earnest Key, KW Philly. Jacqui Key, KW Philly. Skye Michiels from Compass. Kristen Daly from KW Philly. Lisa Risco, Remax Access. And of course, our real estate man, Mike McCann, KW Philly. So let's start with Greg. Give us a little background, Greg, about yourself and 30 to 60 second overview.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Picked up my license in '85 and got very serious about it in about 1988, and the market fell apart. So that was a real learning experience. And some of the other folks here will tell you there was not training on the level that we have today. So you really had to figure it out on your own. In 1992, I was a Center City Council president after running up the line. And in 2006, I worked my way to become a board president. And they are really 2 big highlights of my career. I mean, sales come and go, but it's the achievements that really make you feel good. And made a lot of friends with GPAR. So that's my story.
All right, thank you, Greg. Let's go to Earnest Key. Ernest, you and Jackie, you want to do this together?
Sure. Short and sweet. We both started off investing first, and about 6 years ago, we decided to go and do some more retail real estate and form a team. We have a team of about 7 agents now, well, 7 total, us 2 included. And Heather Patron actually convinced me to get my associate broker's license. So I'm now an associate broker thanks to Heather and her great mentorship. I think she's on a call somewhere. So that's pretty much who we are, short and sweet.
Great. And you guys are married, right?
Thanks. Yeah,
we're still married. We'll see how it goes in 2022. It's been a long 2 years.
And I just want to make a small correction. We're actually at KW Philadelphia. I know it's confusing, as we have KW Philly. No disrespect to KW Philly, but we're actually KW Philadelphia. Just a small correction. And thank you for that, introduction, Councilman Domb.
Thank you. I think it's amazing you guys are working together, married. I was never able to figure that one out, but congratulations to you guys.
Yeah,
Skye,
we're still trying to figure it out too. Thank you.
Skye Michiels, go ahead. Take it away, Skye.
Good morning, Alan. And Alan, thank you for everything you do for all of us realtors and every business owner in Philadelphia too. It's amazing to see what you do. And then Stephanie, thank you as well for serving as president over the last 2 years. Definitely challenging 2 years. So my name is Skye Michiels. I'm the managing director of Compass in Philadelphia. Coming up on my 20 years as a licensed realtor. It's hard to believe 20 years in. And I got started as a teacher. I got started in 2002 as a realtor and have been at several brokerages. And my passion is really impacting people. And my goal is to elevate the industry. And I think as an industry, we do so much good out there. And one of our challenges is just making sure that people understand that. So.
That's great, Skye. I hear great things about you and Compass, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Kristen Daly, where's Kristen?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Stephanie, thank you for your leadership. You've been amazing. We need to lunch soon. Congrats on all your hard work. Alan, thanks for moderating so many talks that I've been to lately, like with Josh Altman the other day. That was fun. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kristen Daly. I am one of the owners with Mike McCann of KW Philly. I got into the business about 15 years ago in 2006 as a hobby after a career in technology sales to Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies and different law firms in the city. And one thing led to another over my first couple of years, and then I decided to make real estate my full-time career. Over the last 10 years, I've been proud to lead a team, the Daily Group, also known as Philly Luxury. My passion is helping new agents and existing agents elevate their businesses and get the best mentorship in the business. And I've always been a big fan of the underdog. So I think I was Keller Williams' one of the first agents for Keller Williams in the city in 2006, a long time ago when there was just one Keller Williams franchise. So I'm a proud mom of 2 boys in the city. You'll often see us walking back and forth between the squares. They're 8 and 10. We're all over the place. I never thought that I would have 2 boys so into flag football. But if anybody ever wants to throw a football around in the city, my kids will definitely throw with you. And I have a pretty good arm now too. I never realized that. So thanks everyone and happy holidays.
Kristen, thank you. Keep up the great work. I'm so happy to hear you're raising your boys in the city. That's great. Lisa Risco, Remax Access. Lisa, tell us about yourself.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me on this panel. I started out as a dual career agent in 2007, working as a registered nurse. And I came in at that time, the big short time. And so 1 year in, everything crashed. Everyone would say to me, you know, oh, you should have been here in 2005. You're awesome, blah, blah. So time went on. And in 2013, when my youngest child graduated college, I saw that the market was shifting. And I took a big leap and said, you know what? I love what I'm doing, and this is what I'm going to do full time. So I was very active with GPAR, PAR early on, and I'm a Remax girl all the way. I have a small team right now of 5. They're awesome, and the rest is history. I just love what I do, and I'm going to keep on doing what I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Great work. Thank you so much. And last but not least, our GPAR legend, Mike McCann, KW Philly. Mike, take it away.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. I am Mike McCann, the real estate man. But first of all, I wanted to thank Matt. Yeah, I've been involved with the Board of Realtors, well, GPAR now, we called it there was a different name before, but for 3.5 decades, and he's doing an incredible job. Stephanie, you're these last 2 years, you've done an unbelievable job. And to elevate that, it's funny, so many people, there's such a small percentage of us that are involved in GPAR and RPAC and stuff, and more people need to be. It's one of the best things I ever did early in my career. So I started June of '86. I had 2 full-time jobs, real estate and hotel industry, full-time in '88. There were no, like Greg said, there were no courses. I continued my education, Temple Real Estate. Alan Domb was one of my teachers. Alan Domb's one of my mentors. And I remember him saying to me in '89, like, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant. And he said to me, if you can make a great living selling real estate, but if you want to build wealth, own real estate. So those 2 things, Alan's one of my 2 mentors in my real estate career. So I have to say that, and Alan gives back so much. He knows how much I respect him, but I watched him from afar. We never had the training. So yes, I am a owner at KW, one of the owners at KW Philly, and recently KW Mainline. I have a team we call Team Awesome, and a bunch of agents there, and now we're out on the main line. But getting involved with the board was one of the best things I ever did, from grievance to all the committees that I was on, and I met a lot of great people. So I do love helping people grow. I do love the underdog. I do love helping people grow in the business. And I only want our profession, we are all collaborators. We are not competitors. I only want our profession to grow and grow and grow. And I love every face on here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks for all you do for all of us. Appreciate it. So let's get to the questions and let's get to the concise answers we're going to share with all of you that hopefully you can utilize in your profession today. So I'm going to start with the first question. What's been the most effective listing tool and selling tool? Give me one or two examples each. And let's start with Greg Damis.
Most effective listing tool for me is was expired listings. That really put me on the map, chasing after expired listings. Instead of going after a bulk of people, you target for people who already had a listing agent who failed, or for some reason, or maybe the seller failed, and they were ready to deal with someone else. The other thing to put me on the map was direct mail or hand flyers to doors. You get about 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 2,000 hits. And if you do that regularly, after 3, 4, 5 mailings or door pieces or whatever, that number starts to grow and people start to become familiar with you and they see you. So for listings, that's really what it's about. In terms of sales, the number one thing for me is really just persistence. Once someone contacts me about anything of a property, I really just don't let go. So statistically, most people only follow up one time. 40% of sales agents only follow up one time, and only 3% follow up 5 times. But 32% of all sales come out of the people that follow up on 5 times. So I'm extremely persistent with follow up, whether it's an email, text messages, or phone calls, and that's really what makes people loyal after a while, because they see you're serious about working with them.
Okay, so Greg, just to be concise, expired listings and tremendous follow-up.
Absolutely, those 2 things, correct.
Okay. Let's go to Lisa.
Yes, so this is the question about what is the most productive listing activity?
Listing and selling, yes, listing and selling.
So I just really, over the years, I stick with one tool, no pun intended, it's Toolkit CMA. I think one of the most productive things you can have for a listing is an awesome presentation. I'm 9 for 10 on listing presentations. When you provide that data to people and you show them numbers and you give them in writing something tangible that they can hold on to make an informed decision, that's our theme. That's what we do. I think it's very, very important. I've had people say to me, oh, wow, the last person just came with some MLS sheets and talked about themselves. I'm so happy you brought this to me. And then the other thing, it's real big, those 18 to 36 touches. You know, just constantly touching people throughout the year. People forget, and like Greg said, you know, they know that you're serious, you know, not to the point of harassment, but you're just constantly touching them with some type of communication. It may not always be about real estate, but it's very, very important to continue to communicate with people.
Okay, thank you. So high touch and a professional CMA.
Correct.
Thank you. Let's go to Kristen.
Hi, so I agree with everything that Greg and Lisa said. I think I'll just mention being involved in the community, being present, and being very aware of your audience. Those are all important factors to our listing success and our buyer success. Many years ago, before I got into business in real estate, I started a community 5K run in the Graduate Hospital neighborhood that now is in, I think it's like 13th or 15th year. And it supports 2 public schools in the area, one at 20th and Catherine, one at 17th and Christian, Stanton, and the Friends of Chester Arthur School. So it took on a new life, and I'm a much better real estate broker than I am a race director. But now every year it raises tens of thousands of dollars for each school. And people in the community just got to know me and respect me, and people want to work with people they respect. So getting involved in your community is a great way of making that happen. But yes, I think expireds, FSBOs, those are key elements to any listing business. And then I also wanted to mention just understanding how people communicate right now, and being able to not only follow up 5 times, but follow up with value, follow up with I mean, I've had a lot of success in just sending screenshots of market analysis via text. They're not on email. My clients are too busy to even read their emails. So like just sending really important pieces of value quickly and easily via text, that's been hugely successful for us. And I know it sounds so basic, but everybody's on the run these days. So you have to communicate quickly, easily with value.
Thank you, Kristen. So my takeaway is getting involved in the community. You're involved with the schools, which is great to give back like that and get your profile. But the big pearl here that you shared with us is following up with value. Not just the follow-up, but following up with value. That's a real pearl. Thank you. Let's go to Jacqui and Earnest Key.
Just to piggyback on everything that was mentioned already, which are all great tips and tactics. Great photos obviously help. A lot of our consumers are very visual, so you have to have great photos and great videos. I know that sounds basic, but oftentimes you go into the MLS and people are still taking pictures of listings with their cell phones. So we really believe in great photos, great videos, know your numbers. You got to run your comps. So Bright is a great tool, obviously, for that. And like Stephanie said, my wife and I, we're really organic. We also have a school initiative. We work with the liaisons for the school district of Philadelphia. We're also charitable. So we like to help on that front, which can bring business indirectly. And I like to pick up the phone. I'm old school like that.
I'm just going to add that I do a lot of the back end stuff. So for me, it's, the organization, the communication. We have systems in place now where anyone can take over where I'm at. And it's, it's just a 1 day of training, but we still haven't given that roll up yet. But we definitely have gotten a lot of listing agents have mentioned that our offer presentation is not so I think that that's a really good strategy to use.
Yeah, being organized, professional, and not cantankerous, that helps us a lot.
Okay, great. So my takeaway is raising the bar on professionalism, whether it's pictures or anything else, and also your organization. But what I heard loud and clear, which we can't forget, is picking up the phone and calling people. There's nothing better than picking up the phone. Forget the emails and the text, that's great. But when you pick up the phone, that's the game changer. Thank you. Let's go to Mike and then Skye.
Hi, everyone. Things have changed over the years. Initially, it used to be handing stuff out, walking the streets, door to door. But going after the expired listings, like Greg said, back in that day, there was a ton of them. Now there's not. There might be. I will tell you, December 31st is the biggest day of expired listings. So I have my people will have. It'll be New Year's Day. So the aggressive ones will go door to door and drop off a bottle of champagne with our marketing plan and a letter. But we do expireds. Pull up the hot sheet every day, mail them every single day. I don't call. My business has always been of attraction. I'm not hey, you want to list? I don't. A lot of people on my team will call. I do a lot of mailings. I do RSP mailings. I do about 14,000 every other month. It's something of value that's very consistent. It went from 500 a month, as the success grew. So you have personal automated systems. Then the business changed. It's really, which I've learned since I've come to KW, is that the 33 touch. So we do the client events. Real estate's a personal business. So I'm doing bonbon videos now to clients. We're doing that when people reach out to us. But working your database is really the big thing. Reaching out to them during their birthday, their anniversary, showing that personal love. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So communication. Everyone will tell you I communicate in thorough detail. I communicate the way that people want to communicate. And the best thing, if you ask me what's the most consistent success over my 3.5 decades, Three things I wanted early on. I've realized in real estate, everybody cooperates. So I had Ernest say this, have the best reputation in the marketplace and communicate with the agents. We're all in this together. Become, I used to say, the hardest worker in the industry. Now I say the hardest / smartest worker in the industry. And work hard, smart, and be consistent. And I love having young people in the business because I learned so much. When I went on social media, it changed me. I fought against social media back in 07 or 08. Now, I've got so much business from Facebook. I'm adapting to Instagram a little bit. All the young people are on Instagram, but social media is free. But not even paying a company, being authentic. Authenticity is what people want. But 75% of our business now is coming from our past clients instead of going after all those cold leads. That's a game changer. So I saved a fortune on Zillow and Realtor.com and Trillium.
Mike, I got to tell you, it's amazing to watch you, how you've grown from the 86 level to today and how you've adapted to the technology and embraced it and utilized it in your business to be advantageous for you. All I wish is I wish I was living in a house in your market that had an expiring listing the end of December so I can get a bottle of champagne. That's kind of amazing. That is over the top. But you know what? It's going to get people to call. And that's what you're doing, Mike, is everything is over the top, which is perfect. One of the, and I think Kristen mentioned this, we had I moderated with this Josh Altman from $1 Million Listing a couple weeks ago. And, I'm coming from the school, ready, aim, fire. He comes from the school, ready, fire, then aim. Kind of interesting.
They're all Wanamaker.
Let's go to Skye Michaels.
Well, Alan, like we said in the beginning, and everything everyone said was obviously great techniques. And I'm going to piggyback off of Mike a little bit. Your past clients, like any successful realtor, for the most part, you got to work your sphere of influence. And I think a lot of realtors, when they hear sphere of influence, they think sphere. The key word, though, is influence. So one of the biggest things everyone can do is identify who do you have influence over? Not who are the thousands of people in my database, but who are the 100, 200 people I have influence over? And in my opinion, the technique that will generate the most listings is every single person you have influence over, you send them a market snapshot once a year. It could be on their, I prefer the home sale anniversary, but if you went into your database and listed the date that they purchased their home, on that date, you send them a market snapshot. You're not doing a CMA, but all you're doing is a market snapshot. Very similar to the way your financial advisor would send you an update of your investment portfolio. If every realtor on this call took the mantra that you are an advisor and a consultant and you have influence over people. So ignore the word sphere and focus on the word influence. Who are the people I have influence over? And every year you send a market snapshot on their home sale anniversary. Every person that owns a home, when that day comes, when they think about selling their home, at the very, very minimum, you're going to be in the conversation because every year you've had the consistency of keeping them updated of other properties that are selling in their neighborhood. And that's a value add. I think Kristen mentioned it and Mike obviously mentioned it, providing value, things that everyone could do to their sphere of influence. But I want to stress, don't focus on sphere, meaning all the thousands of contacts in your database. Focus on influence. Who do I have influence over? And that's the biggest technique I think that we can take to provide value to people and generate new business.
That's great, Skye. So really what you're saying is take your key people, your sphere, and specialize and customize information to them so that you stand out with them.
That's it. And stay consistent with it.
Right.
Dedicate every year, you're going to do that same thing.
That's great. That's great. It kind of reminds me, because then people know, that you're really into it, but it reminds me of a very old saying that I learned from, I think it was More Real Estate out in Denver, Colorado. They had in their building, it said, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And to a degree, what you're doing, Skye, is showing them that personalized high touch that you care. So
that's right.
Let's go to the second question. This is kind of an overview question. I'd like you to give us in 30 seconds, I'm challenging our panel, your overview of what happened in 2021 in your market And what's your forecast for 2022? So let's start now with, how about Ernest and Jacqui?
Oh, wow, you're gonna start us off with the doozy. Can you repeat the question? Because I want to answer it.
Sure. So tell us, like in 2021, give us your overview of what your market was like, okay? 30 seconds or so, and then tell us what you're predicting or forecasting or thinking is going to happen in 2022.
So as we all know in this room, on this panel rather, 2021 was very hectic, super competitive for the buyers. We submitted a lot of offers for quite a few of our buyers. We saw buyers doing things that we don't necessarily recommend. For example, waiving home inspections, paying exuberant amounts over the appraised value, things like that. It was just, it was wild. I think it will cool down somewhat, but not a lot. Inventory is still low in our market. And I think with that infrastructure bill being passed is going to create some more chaos, for lack of a better term. What do you think, Q?
I agree. I'm looking forward to 2022. We have a lot of buyers and sellers in the pipeline. A lot of sellers are taking advantage of the low inventory, so starting to get ready for the spring market.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to use the word chaos, because it's not a negative thing. Yeah, it's still going to be a frenzy, but I don't think it's going to be like 2021. At least I hope not. My wife's, she's getting carpal tunnel syndrome from writing all these offers.
I see you're expecting 21 was probably a very good year. You're expecting 22 to be pretty close to 21 is my takeaway.
Yes, but not as frenzied.
Right. Okay. Let's go to Lisa. You're on mute. Okay.
Yes, I'm off mute. 2021 was very interesting, despite coming out of the 2020. Positive market, very challenging, like the Key team said, for buyers. But however, it was still the cheapest money that you could borrow. So they still pushed along. Sellers took opportunity of the low inventory and getting top dollar. For 2022, I do anticipate, as we continue to watch this fiscal and monetary policy going on nationally, that there may be some changes. And I do still expect people to get top dollar, but I'm anticipating about a 9 to 12 month, I don't know, Alan, that we might shift and finally simmer down just a little back to a almost normal market. That's my prediction.
And in your market, Lisa, right now, is there a shortage of listings?
Absolutely. So, well, some areas, but because we're pretty vast, being a team, you know, we can cover a multitude of areas, but some areas, it's quality listings that are short. When you get one, everybody's on it.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Let's go to Kristin.
Hi. We had a great year in 2021. It was a fast year. I saw a lot of the affluent buyers and sellers in our marketplace maybe not making as many decisions as they could have, should have. Our business trends on luxury. So we know a lot of the luxury buyers in the market right now, and they're just kind of sitting back and waiting to see how COVID's going to play out, and they may enjoy keeping their money elsewhere, like in the stock market, which has been performing really well. In the lower price points, we've seen a brisk market, you know, under 500, under 400, you know, properties continue to move very quickly. In the city, I work most of the time in the city, and then I do some work in the suburbs. The suburban market, as my team and I know, it's been super duper competitive. We just closed on a nice property for the buy side in Haverford, and the listing brokers had 2 buyers waiting in the wings for the property. So we're proud of that story. We were able to beat out 2 buyers that the listing side had to win this beautiful property in Haverford. But the condo market has been pretty depressed in the city. 2 Liberty is a great example of that. But there are great things in store for 2 Liberty too over the next couple of years. So if we all have condo buyers, I think right now, or people who may see themselves moving from the suburbs back into the city at some point in time, this is the time to buy. I just presented to the Union League the other day on a presentation called What's Hot and What's Not. And so this isn't necessarily the market to do what is hot. This is the market to do or to buy what is not. And so buildings like the residences at the Ritz, where I recently bought in the last couple of months, and 2 Liberty, those are 2 great buildings to look in and invest in. And you can rent out units there. So buying before you need, renting it out for your client, getting your clients great price points there, and then holding on. 2 Liberty still has a tax abatement. That's amazing. So great value in tax abated properties. And I see for 2022, the same that we had in 2021 or similar. And I'm starting to feel the spring market already. I don't know if anybody else started to feel that like yesterday, but things were a little slow and a little too boring for me. And then yesterday things picked up, and for some reason, I felt like it was spring. So I was happy.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Let's go to Mike. 21, Mike, what are your forecasts for 22?
Well, it's amazing these last 2 years with COVID, what happened. If this had happened 10 years ago, the industry would have been shut down. But thank goodness with Zoom and all the communications. So it's been 2 incredible years. And I always tell agents, save your money. I do anticipate at least the first half of this year to be strong. I'm a product of that 79 to 82 inflation, so I'm very concerned with a horrible time in our country. I've been through 5 ups and downs in real estate, so I tell people, to save your money. But we are confidence builders, so we sell homes from 100, 200,000 to 2 or 3 or 4 million. Specialized in town. First time buyers, 65% of our market. Hey, Mike, is it a good time to? Oh, I don't want to buy. Prices are high. Interest rates are the lowest they've ever been since they've given 30-year interest rates practically. Buy as long as you're going to be in the place. Well, Mike, I don't think I should sell. The market's going to come up a little bit better. It's one of the best prices we ever seen. So being a confidence builder to get people to make decisions today. The suburbs, I've never seen anything like that in 35 years. I sell personally in the city, but the suburbs are off the charts. They had 26% appreciation this last year. I didn't see that in the 10-year period. I do expect the inner cities to grow. There's a lot of opportunities. To me, the inner burbs instead of the outer burbs. I love working with developers, expanding markets, creating things. So in the city, I see the luxury market as a little bit softer. I did in the last 2 weeks, I did have our fall was marginal, but I did the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden, all these offers and stuff. The bottom line is list to live. Get those listings, Like Lisa was saying also, a premier property that shows great because so many people want move-in condition. I really work on conditioning the property so it has appeal because most of our clients, they aren't like old school. When I bought it, had paneling and drop ceilings. I got family to help. Today, they just want to move in today. The millennials, they can afford it. So to me, the first half is going to be very strong. The second half, I'm concerned about. But as long as rates stay low, even if they go up to 3.5 or 4, who cares? Alan, I remember when they went under 10, we couldn't believe it. But get your inventory, build your confidence in whether it's a buyer, specialize in, to me, first-time buyers. That's what I was the king of. Maximum financing, getting them in, because these young kids are paying $1,500, $2,000 for rent. They can own a nice house. Buy your first house, live in it for a couple of years, keep it, and buy your second house. So that's what I coach people on. I love helping people build wealth in real estate, even if they're not, with their regular job. So I think the market is dig deep. It's not going to stay the way that it was. It was a brutal year for buyers, no question. Making 10 offers, and the listing agents thought that they were, the best in the world, but it was a market condition. So anyway,
all right.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Mike. That's great. And just to add to what you said, I'm probably one of the oldest people who's been in the business on this call. I remember back in 1980 or 81, interest rates with East Girard Savings Association hit 21%. And that's if you had a deposit relationship with them. So in context, that meant the home we sold back then for 200,000 basically has a similar payment to the home you sell for $1.2 million or $1.3 million today. So you think about affordability, it's kind of amazing from 41 years ago. Let's go to Skye and then Greg.
So Alan, I think the key word everyone should focus on is normalization. I think in many ways, like 21, last 2 years, there was anything but normal. I've never seen a market that was this way. So I think my prediction for 22 is we're just going to go back into what a normal real estate market is. Listings are going to take, 30, 60, 90 days to sell. You got to know your price. You got to make sure the fact that your seller communication has to be dialed in. I think the biggest thing everyone could do is make sure you every day add into your routine looking at numbers. Look every day at average days on market, absorption rates. For whatever neighborhood that you specialize in, you should have 2 to 3 key factors or figures that you're looking at every single day. And the reason why that's important is that we all on this call have years and years of experience, and we all can tell you we have no idea what's going to happen. However, if you stay focused on the numbers, you'll be able to start to predict and see some trends happening that as you go, you're going to be an expert for your clients of being able to explain to them, this is what I've seen in the market. In January, absorption rates were, we had 2 months. Now we're at 3 months. Now we're at 4 months. So I see this market going in this direction. So it's really, really critical that as realtors, we know what our numbers are, and we know the numbers in the neighborhoods that we specialize in. And that way we can communicate to our clients, this is the trends that we're seeing. In 21, we got lucky because every listing sold. Now we have to actually increase our skill level to make sure that we communicate, actual data to our clients in a much better way.
I'm listening to you, Skye, and everybody else, and saying it's amazing the level of professionalism all of you have, and the knowledge and the detail. I mean, to think how far this profession has come from back in the 80s, it's just it's great to see. So that's great information, Skye. Thanks. Let's go to Greg.
I found 2021 to be a strong year for us. And I think part of that's because when the market was getting sketchy, we actually decided that we were going to dig in, invest more, take the time and speak with people and use that time. Someone on this panel once had said, when the market takes a dive, that's actually when you jump in and spend the money. And I heard that, I believe, from Mike back in 2008 or 9. So, and I remembered that advice, and it was good advice. But 2021 was a very strong year. It just was not consistent for us. We'd have 4, 5, 6 weeks of going out of our minds, and then 3 weeks later, it would get really quiet, and you would think the sky is falling out. But at the end of the day, 2021 turned out to be a pretty good year. One of the nice things about 2021 was actually not going to closings. And I don't know how anyone else feels about that. I had a closing the other day with Skye, and she's on this panel. And it was kind of nice. And I'd say for the year, that might have been only the 5th closing that I attended, out of 70 or 80. So that was really kind of nice to be able to sit there and have the time. But I also, at the same time, sat there for 3 or 4 hours. And that was 3 or 4 hours of my time that was really a lot less productive. But overall, good year. Next year, I think we're going to have pretty good things. I think it's going to be a little more level. I think we're all going to be able to breathe. Our clients, our buyers are not going to feel like they're going to get beat out every time they make an offer. And I think the sellers are going to have to be a little more realistic. Some of the people who've been around for a while know, like Alan mentioned, interest rates. When interest rates go up, buyers get motivated. And you would think it would be the opposite, but I believe that buyers will say, oh my gosh, I can get a rate at 3, but it's going up to 3.5% in a week or two. So they might come out of the woodwork thinking that 0.5% is going to make, and it might make a big difference in their affordability. So I think for that reason, we're going to have a strong year next year. I also think the millennials are a huge part of our market. And if you're missing the millennial market, you're missing the market. So it is, I'm not, because of my sphere of influence, it's not millennials. But for someone like my daughter or my younger team members, I think they're in for a powerful year this year. I think millennials are going to say, I can live anywhere I want. I don't have to be in New York City. I can be in Philadelphia, and so on and so forth. And the last thing I want to say is we sold more homes in the suburbs and in Mount Airy, Chestnut Hill this year as a team than I have in my career. And it was not intentional. It just, my clients were moving. So we picked up the listing and then we were able to help them in a lot of the cases. We were able to help them to move on to the next house. So I think that had a lot to do with us having a good year.
Okay, thank you, Greg. I want to mention that Heather Patron is on this call, and she's our past GPAR president, our current Pennsylvania Association of Realtors District Vice President, and chair of the PAR Forums Committee. So thank you, Heather, for all you do for all of us. We appreciate it. And I'm going to ask a lightning round question to our current president, Stephanie, and that is in 2021 versus 2022, Stephanie, what do you see changing for you personally in 2022 versus 2021?
Oh, okay. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. 2021. It was an interesting year, implementing some of the tools and techniques that we learned during the pandemic to see if it could work in a more normal market, for the association. I think for all of us as agents, learning technology and how we could incorporate it into our businesses to grow and deal with our changing climate. For me personally, I'm going back into sales, so I'm excited to put my focus on it. My longtime partner and dear friend Karen Black and I have formed a team, so we're really excited to get that started. So I'm optimistic about 2022, cautiously. It depends, a lot of external factors are affecting our business and on a local, national level. I'd like to see the needle move a little more on the neighborhoods and the quality of life. It really affects how we do business. So I'd like to think over the course of 2 years with our coffee talks with some of our legislators and representatives, that we were able to shine some light on some of the issues that affect our business and move the needle just a little to make it a little bit better. So yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm keeping an eye on interest rates also. That's a little concerning, but all in all, I think it's going to be good.
Okay, thank you. So we have a third question. I'm going to ask our panel to give me lightning round answers, 15 to 20 seconds, because we're running out of time. So here's the first question. What tech tool have you used this past year that's provided you the highest return on investment, and how'd you use it? Let's start with Mike.
I use Follow Up Boss, Bonbon, and Alan. I don't know what else everybody else, what my team uses, because I rely on them. I'm sales, they're details, man. So that's what, and social media is free. I have fun. I love people. I love seeing what's going on in your life and everybody else's life on here. I get so much business from social media.
Great. Okay. Skye?
I mean, I won't get too in depth in Compass, but one of the things that Compass build that platform where everything outside of the Compass technology, I would agree with Mike. I think in many ways, reverse engineering social media is key. In other words, like media where we're being fed what to see. In many ways, I talk about sphere of influence all the time, Alan. You go back to the people you influence and see what's going on in their lives through social media and then reach out to them. So in many ways, use technology to rehumanize business. And, that's my recommendation.
Well, let me just repeat, use technology to humanize basically is the overview of that. Okay, let's go to Lisa.
Yes. One of the tools that we took on this year and at the end of 2020 was the KV Core platform, just because artificial intelligence and botting has really become a thing. And when you have such a large database, sometimes it's just impossible to keep up with everyone. So there are many tools out there that are productive, but that artificial intelligence, botting, and auto posting is really, really important. And that's been successful for us.
Okay, let's go to Jackie and Ernest.
Yes. So of course we use CRM, social media, etc. But I think the best form of technology that we use is a cell phone and laptop, those two things. I think they are the best invention since the wheel. So that's what we use. We're very, like I said earlier, we're very old school. We kiss babies, shake hands. So the cell phone and laptop, you can make a good amount of money with those two inventions.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I agree. We're not gonna take up too much time.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Greg.
I find it odd, and I tell this story, that we've been told since I've been in the business for 30-something years that technology is going to put us out of business. And that has been the story since the first cell phone came out, or the first fax machine, or whatever. I remember there was a big deal. All that has done, technology, is it allowed us to do more and more and more business than I ever dreamed of. I can remember doing 20 sales a year, or 25, and working 24/7. And my friend Anne Marie's on this, and she'll tell you we went crazy for that. Today, the technology has done nothing but help us. I'm pretty much old school. So for me, the two things that I rely on the most is this, my phone. I'm on the phone. You can't see it. I'm on the phone all the time. I'm texting all the time. I'm emailing all of the time. I'm old school. I speak with people, and that's how I get their business. It's nice to be able to email back and forth, but until I get them on the phone and I'm able to get a face-to-face, that's really what seals the deal and gets me the business. So the phone for me is number one. But in terms of other things, I'm a big Google Chrome person, and I use Google Chrome attachments. My favorite two are Reportive, which you can attach to your Google Chrome. And Reportive will give you a column down the right-hand side of your emails. And so if I'm emailing Ellen Domb, Ellen Domb's profile pulls up. It tells me what's his LinkedIn account, what's there, what's on his social media for Facebook or whatever. It'll tell me about anything he's been there. So it actually does a quick research and gives me a bring down and shows me my last conversations. So I love Reportive for that reason. It helps you when you speak with someone, it helps bring back your memory. The second attachment I have is called Boomerang. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with Boomerang. I love it. Stephanie's saying, yeah, I love Boomerang. So if someone says, Greg, I'll speak to you next week, that email gets boomeranged into the specific time next week. It pops back in as a brand new email. I never have to think about, oh, I have to call Kristin or whoever tomorrow or the next day or 6 months from now. I sleep at night because that message is sitting in Boomerang, and I know when I wake up that morning there might be 10, 12, 20 of these things bouncing into my email at different points of the day. I also Boomerang things into my inbox for my assistant to look at. So if something happens at night and I want her to see it, I know she's looking at my email at 8:30, so I Boomerang it at 8:30, and I know when I talk to her at 9 o'clock, she's going to know what the heck I'm talking about already. So it's just a great tool. I would recommend it to everyone.
All right, thank you, Greg. Let's go to Kristin. Give us your concise best tech tool and highest return.
There are so many good ones. So I'm so grateful for Bright, the Bright MLS. Oh my gosh, we have so much information at our fingertips. Not every market area has Bright. So I'm grateful for Bright. I'm grateful for DocuSign. Loop, whatever your documentation system is. I mean, when I had my 10-year-old, we were still using paper documents, and my life was a mess in 2011 because I was still running around trying to get paper wet signatures from people who didn't have fax machines or scanners or whatnot. So I'm super grateful for DocuSign and Loop, and I can use Loop from my phone. I don't, even as a high level professional, like it's the easiest thing. I'll be in a meeting, or I'll be walking into an elevator and I send an offer over, or a listing agreement over, because it's already prepped and in my phone. So that's a huge, huge benefit to all of us. I don't know how many of you set up meetings with your clients and send them a formal meeting notice from email, but that's what they do in the corporate world. We don't always run our businesses like a corporation. And so I encourage all of you to start setting meetings with your clients and sending them a formal notice in their calendar. And that way they'll take you more seriously. All of you may already do that, but I've been doing that more in the last couple of years, and it's fantastic. And sometimes we don't even have to talk about time. I just send over a meeting notice and they accept it, and then we move on and it's already in the calendar. So those are three things that are important. And of course we use RedX. I think my team and I like a lot. It's opened up some opportunities. That's an expired, and a FISBO system. We use our CRM, our Constant Contact. We use that. And then in terms of other technologies, I guess I would say I incorporate clubs almost as my technologies too. I belong to lots of community groups, whether it's the Union League, whether it's the Fittler Club, whether it's the Germantown Cricket Club. While they're not technologies, they're very important elements of our business and our business plan. So I'll leave it at that. I have more to offer, but thanks, Alan.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Matt, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, so Kristen gets a gold star. We're going to put something on her refrigerator because why? DocuSign and Bright MLS are part of the benefit package of being a member with GPAR. You get discounted subscription rate to Bright MLS, which has tons of savings every single year for you folks. And then DocuSign is a free of charge product that you guys get to utilize in your daily work. So thank you, Kristen Daly, for the shout out on that. That was unintentional and not planted.
Okay, thank you. Last question, and I'm going to ask everybody to be as brief as possible. Max 30 seconds. We always say you make a living selling real estate and you create wealth owning it. Share with us what you think has been the best way for you to build wealth in your career. And let's start with Greg.
That's a great question, Alan. Well, for me, without having a slush fund to tap into as a new agent and not a lot of income, for me, it was buying a home, living in it, tooling around with it, moving on to the next one, renting out and keeping that house. I still have one that I lived in from 1987, although I bought my first home in 82. So for me, that's really how I got started. But I'd say in the 90s, it became financing. Get a relationship with a lender, maybe a commercial bank, and where you get yourself a line of credit or a bridge loan or whatever, and then just try to finance the properties, get in there, fix them up, get them rented, refinance them, move on to the next one. I'd say that's pretty much how I was able to do it.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Jacqui and Ernest.
Well, just like Greg mentioned and Mike also mentioned, got to buy real estate. Our rental portfolio helps us a lot. And just very recently, we got into buying ETFs and index funds, and we're seeing some pretty good returns on that investment, especially for the long term, part of your business. And I would also add to have some type of retirement account, like a SEP IRA or a traditional IRA, to kind of fight Uncle Sam. We love Uncle Sam, but sometimes he beats us up when we have our good years. So those buying real estate and your retirement accounts.
All right, great. Let's go to Lisa.
Yes, I think one of the things that helps me build wealth is to operate as a qualified association. Early on in your career, you're running around just getting commission checks, you know, you're spending them, spending them, spending them. But to be able to leverage as a business and take advantage of the business tax reliefs and things of that sort, leasing under your company name, all of those things really do add a benefit to my finances or to our finances.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Kristen?
So many thoughts. One, for many, many years, I worked very hard to live below my means. Anyway, that allows you to save money to invest. So I encourage everyone to live below your means. Next, have a strong work ethic. We're in a unique business where we have control over our own schedules. We make what we do depending on the effort we put in to it. So for many, many, many years, and still to this day, like we all do, I was living, sleeping, eating, celebrating real estate all the time. I was not out and about. I missed a lot of parties, but it was because of my work ethic, and I had a desire to live that life by design that we all strive to live. So that allowed me to invest in some real estate. I have a rental property in Grad Hospital. I have a triplex in Manayunk that I own with a friend of mine. And this year, one of my goals was to invest in as much as possible and connect with as many investment professionals and investment companies as possible. So I invested in different debt and equity opportunities in about 10 different businesses, everything from a luxury doggy daycare startup in Alexandria, Virginia, DC, and Leesburg, Virginia, to a pretty successful developer in the Graduate Hospital Center City area for some of their debt requests. And then also some equity in assisted living facilities, urgent care facilities, and some treatment facilities. And so these are all things that I hadn't focused on until this year, but because I was networking with the right partners and really pushing myself to network with other people outside of my industry, I was able to position myself and made the right decisions to do so. And hopefully they will be helpful for me to create more wealth for myself and my family in the future.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Skye?
I think owning businesses has been the key for me. You know, we're all business owners as realtors, but keep in mind there's other businesses that you could either own directly or as a partner. And that's the biggest thing that I would recommend to everyone, is to figure out ways of owning multiple businesses while doing your practice.
Okay, and last, of course, but not least, you can bring it home, Mike.
So to me, Alan Domb said, make money selling real estate, build with owning real estate. Met a guy, late 80s, 42, retired, had been a plumber. He started buying real estate at 18. He said, Mike, I don't need this big fancy stuff. I buy 1 or 2 homes a year. I get a 10 or 15-year loan. I get them paid off. All my homes are paid off. And he lived below his means in a nice house in South Philly. Took me to his boat. It was a yacht the size of a city block. But so I went home to my wife that night and I said, honey, we're going to buy 1 home a year. So back then you needed 30% down with the high interest rates. So I had to get partners. A couple of years in, partners weren't the best because people have different goals. So I started to buy myself. So I like to buy single 1 to 4 family homes in, like I bought in Passyunk Square when you were buying them for 30 or 40 grand, or Pennsport for 25 or 30,000, that are emerging markets. And I clean it up, rent it out. And then the mindset is long-term. So my goal was by the time I was 50 to have 50 homes all paid off. So I wouldn't have to work. Of course, that happened and more. However, I still work more than ever because I love you all. But so it wasn't the fancy stuff. And the mindset is don't sell. I did sell a few in 05 and, but the stuff that I bought then is worth 1,000% more. I was doing some comps yesterday on a property I was going on Spruce Street. It sold in 95 for 119,000. I mean, it's a $2 million listing today, Alan. Like So people think, oh, well, the prices are up. Trust me, we didn't even hit the world-class status as a city yet. Another 10 or 20 years, real estate is going to be untouchable. But I like the emerging markets, fixing up, cleaning up a house, putting some trees on the block. Other people fix it up, but and that stuff. I don't need to make cash off of that as long as it pays for itself. And I'm building equity. So I'm slow and steadier, but that's been the best thing for wealth.
Okay, thank you. I think a lot of great pearls we heard today. I want to thank all of you, all the panelists. Tremendous information you shared willingly with all of us. It was really fantastic. I want to thank everybody on this call. Wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas. And Stephanie, I'm going to turn it back to you. We can't thank you enough for being our president. These last.
I have to say one more thing. I'm jumping in. The city will become world-class if Alan Domb becomes mayor. That's what we need.
Well, with that, Mike, I do. Thank you so much, Alan, for hosting my very last coffee talk as president. But I have a question for you, and I always like to end on a positive note and would like to hear what your thoughts are for 2022 in real estate and the city.
So I will say, you'll see today there was an announcement by Sparks Therapeutic. They're going to build 500,000 square feet of life science space out in University City for jobs. That's the key to the city. These jobs are high paying jobs with what we call high economic job multipliers, meaning for every job that they create in this therapy business, there's 5 more jobs that are spinoffs. This is the future of our city. Life sciences, cell therapy. For those of you who don't know this, we are #1 in the world in cell therapy. #1 in the world. And I'll also share this with you because we all are proud of this. Without Philadelphia, without the University of Penn, there'd be no vaccine today. They developed the formula for the vaccine. It's kind of amazing that the whole world owes the city of Philadelphia and Penn Medicine that gratitude, because without it, we wouldn't have a vaccine today. So the future, Stephanie, in my opinion, I'm an optimist. The future is our life sciences. We are working right now in our in the tax committee to try to adjust some of the taxes to make us more competitive, to help existing companies grow jobs. But it's all about taking people out of poverty. It's all about creating more jobs. But the #1 issue for me is quality of life and getting this crime situation under control. Because without getting that under control, it doesn't matter what our taxes are. We don't want people saying, I don't want to come into the city. I don't feel safe. We need to make them feel safe. On that note, I will tell you that Wednesday night at 11 o'clock at 17th and Locust, we arrested 4 or 5 of the people that were committing a lot of these smashing robberies with, we had 2 in front of the Barclay where they stuck guns in front of people's heads, 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 o'clock at night. Same people, but they are under the police right now. So we have them in prison right now. So they're going to get prosecuted. I am working with all law enforcement agencies to work together as a team, because I think we need to do that. And look, cities always come back, and they always come back stronger, and they have in the last 300 years. So overall, Stephanie and everyone else at GPAR, City of Philadelphia is going to do great. We have a great future. This life sciences is something we are #1 in the world on. We just have to make sure they stay here, and that's our goal. So thank you all. Thanks.
Well, I think that is great news. Great to end on that note. Very exciting, and happy holidays, everyone. Looking forward to a great new year. Jake is our next president. He's going to be great. We have everything all planned out, new strat plans, so GPAR is on their way. Thank you for all the panelists for joining us today. Thank you for your time and your wisdom. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Stephanie. Our panel, great feedback. Thank you for being so open and sharing of the things that make your business run, and also to make your lives run, because it's all interconnected, no doubt. So with that, everybody, have a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy holidays. We can't wait to see you in 2022. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.